And then it says after that, created, we are God's workmanship, we are God's work of art, created in Christ Jesus. You know that that word created there is significant. That word is only used in the entire Bible of God. It is only used of the power that God alone has. Not used of man, not used of any human being, not used of an animal, used of God. So it's only by God that this happens. And we are created in Christ Jesus. What did we just celebrate? Besides the New Year. Christmas, okay? A week ago we celebrated Christmas. Just this past weekend, Christy and I went to see the Nativity story. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it while it's still in the theaters. It was incredible to see the visual. I mean, we read the stories in the gospel, or we hear it from somebody, but really, to see that God would come down to earth in the form of a baby in Christ Jesus. But he wouldn't stay a baby. He would become a man. He would live an incredible life. But he would love you enough that he would go to death on a cross for you. But it didn't end there. Because that's where God's grace, His richness, His mercy comes in. Because He was raised from the dead. So that you could be God's workmanship, created to do good works. And so here we are, beginning of 2007. Your life counts because of God's grace. It doesn't count because of what you do. It counts because of God's grace. So what are we going to do now? Well, Erwin McManus, in his book Barbarian Way, said, God created you so that your days would count, not so that you could count the days of your life. If you know that your life counts, what are you doing about it? What are you doing about that reality check? Are you just kind of sitting on it? Here's my question. Are you going to live in it in 2007? You see, as I talk to people, I talk to you, talk to my family, talk to other friends, as I look at this text, and as I think about how this really applies to us, I come to the realization that each one of us has been created by God to contribute. We have been created in Christ Jesus to contribute something. So how are you going to do that most effectively in 2007? You know what I think it comes down to for a lot of us? Time. It's time. It's not money, even though some of us don't have a whole lot, okay? That's not the primary thing for most people. It's time. So I'm going to give you 3 things tonight, okay? I'm going to give you 3 really practical things, and you might even want to write these down. They're going to be up on the screen, because I think these will help you contribute most effectively in 2007. And I can't take credit for these 3 things. I've been going through this book called Ordering Your Private World by Gordon MacDonald. Incredible, incredible book. I'd recommend it to any of you. I'm not even done with the whole book yet, but I'm probably 3/4 of the way through. And Gordon MacDonald talks about 3 ways to maximize your effectiveness when it comes to time. You see, he's an older pastor, and he's kind of been through the ringer, and he knows there was a time in his life when he would just kind of do whatever. But that he wasn't being effective. Some of us just kind of go through life passing time, rather than making our life count. So 3 things that I want to share with you tonight about that. The first one is that you would know your rhythms of maximum effectiveness. Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road, I think. Okay, this is where it just gets really practical for you in the new year. Know your rhythms of maximum effectiveness. When do you do your best work? When do you think best? Are you a morning person? Are you a night person? Okay, for some of you, that's like right now. For others of you, it's going to be in about 12 hours or so. Okay? What is prime time for you? Think about that. Okay, maybe even jot it down. Start thinking about it. I know that for me, from 7 a.m. to about 10:30 a.m. is golden. Okay? You know what I do during that time? Prepare sermons, I write, and do worship planning. That's about it. It's about all that I do during that time. I know if it doesn't, I mean, that's kind of like the urgent, most important stuff of my life. Okay? Right there. I know that from 10 to noon is a little bit different. Okay, I can do some other things. I know that my best people time is probably in the afternoon. Okay, what is that time for you? And then, here's the other question. What is it in the flow of the week? I learned in college that Friday afternoon is not the best time to do homework. Okay? It just doesn't work. Great time to watch Office Space. In fact, the best time to watch Office Space. But never watch expect to be able to do homework. Okay? So what are the best times of the week for you? Are you just drained about Friday afternoon? Is Monday morning your best time? Okay, be thinking about that. Know that about yourself. Pastor Pete, who's one of our teaching pastors here, he taught me this. Divert daily, withdraw weekly, abandon annually. Every day, do something different. Break up your day. Break up your routine. What is that for you? For mine, it's spinning. And not spinning records. It's spinning on a bike. Okay? It's working out. That's my time. Okay? It'll be at 5:30 tomorrow morning. That'll be my diverting daily right there. Okay? What about withdrawing weekly? When is your Sabbath? When are you resting? When do you truly rest? It's so hard to do that nowadays. So many of you work, and it's so easy to work at home. It's so easy to take your work home, isn't it? You know, you can do your email from home. You can do it on your BlackBerry. You can do it wherever, whenever, in the car. You can do whatever you want to do. But when do you truly rest? And then finally, abandon annually. When are you vacationing? When are you going to see your family? When are you just chilling out? Okay, you can call my parents crazy, but they have their vacations planned for 2007 and 2008 already. You wonder where I get it from, okay? That's who they are. It's so important to them that they make that a priority in their life. Do you know that Bill Gates, between the years of 1988 and 1994, only took 6 days of vacation? That's not cool. Okay, that's nothing to be proud of. Divert daily, withdraw weekly, abandon annually. Okay. Second thing that McDonald talks about in his book, he says, have thoughtful criteria for choosing how to use your time. How do you decide what you do and what you don't do? You see, most of you probably have more opportunities, more chances to do things than you have time for. Andy Stanley, a pastor in Atlanta, says opportunity does not equal obligation. So how do you decide what you're going to do and what you're not going to do? You see, for most of us, the problem is not choosing the good from the bad. It's taking the best out of the good. So how are you going to decide what that is? You got to be thinking about that. You got to be thinking about that. And then the final thing, the third thing that he talks about, he says, budget far in advance. Budget far in advance. Okay, for some of you, you're like, yeah, right, I don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. But Gordon MacDonald, he said, if you want to be looking ahead as much as you're able to, here's why. Because there's got to be non-negotiables in your life. What are those non-negotiables? I would pray that for 2007, time with God is a non-negotiable. I don't know when it's going to happen for you, but I pray that it happens. In fact, I encourage you, and I hope that here at Outpost Maplewood, we can do everything possible to facilitate an environment where that's easier for you. Because I hope that's a non-negotiable for your life. And so here we go. There's 3 things, 3 practical things. Well, what's the reality check for tonight? Your life counts. Your life matters. And you have been called and created in Christ to contribute. So what does this mean for us as a community? I think this has huge implications. We're going to talk a little bit about it during our impact time. But picture this. What if we are a community of God that meets here on Tuesday nights, but that also knew, and didn't just know, but acted on the reality that we have been created in Christ to do something, to contribute to the world? What if that's what our hearts want? I know that for many of you, you're already doing that. But what if all of us together, we joined arms and lived out that reality? That'd be a sweet place to call church for 2007. And that's what I pray we're able to do. We're going to take a few minutes now just to enter into a time of prayer. We've set up a prayer station up front here, and you've got some paper on your table. For some of you, this is going to be a really good time just to reflect. Maybe to reflect on some of these questions. Maybe to reflect on Ephesians chapter 2.